Following the attacks on September 11, 2001, the world changed. We changed security steps across the nation. The change we'll be discussing in this video is Hazmat Security Training. In 2003, a rule was set forth requiring all hazmat personnel to be trained in Hazmat Security Awareness. It is essential to the safety of everyone that everyone understand the type of concerns that exist and understand also that those concerns are always evolving. Some of the type of attacks that have occurred through terrorism include the World Trade Center bombing in February 1993, the Tokyo subway nerve attack agent in March 1995, and the Oklahoma City bombing in April 1995. There have been smaller incidents, not necessarily classed as terrorist events, like the 1996 Olympics. While it is improbable that every terrorist attack can be preventable, you can do your part. Let's start with the very basics. Just because the hazardous material you're hauling is a Table 2 doesn't mean it isn't as capable of being destructive or dangerous as the Table 1 materials. An easy example is acetone, which is commercially called nail polish remover. This chemical can easily be turned into a weapon in the wrong hands. Many of the hazardous materials that are essential to industry could be potentially deadly weapons in the wrong hands. Take the Oklahoma City bombing, where fertilizer was used to make bombs, a deadly attack. Those storing hazardous materials should always have protocols in place that involve security systems or personnel, cameras or alarm systems. If any part of a shipment goes missing before getting loaded on a truck, local and federal agencies should be alerted so they can take preventative measures. With an increase in cyber attacks, it's also critical you find ways to protect the information on your computer from being stolen. Paperwork showing the location of a load or a planned route could quickly become a way for terrorists to locate where a shipment is or when to expect it. If you have any reason to believe your computer system has been hacked for vital information, you should share it with the appropriate government agencies and let them know what kind of information may have been found. Hiring practices for hazmat employees should also include a thorough background check of the individual in question before hiring them. Oftentimes, this will serve as a deterrent to bad actors seeking to infiltrate your business to get their hands on hazardous materials. A warehouse or facility is much safer a place to store hazmat than on a truck. When it's on a truck, it's at its most vulnerable position. So another easy thing to consider is the route the hazmat materials will travel. Only those essential personnel should have access to the planned route to minimize the risk of a leak of what is being transported and where. Anytime you can avoid areas with a lot of people in a major city, you should. Tunnels, if possible, should be avoided as well, particularly with inhalation hazardous chemicals. Remove any unnecessary stops from the route. If you can avoid making a stop, you're going to be safer for it. If you have to stop anywhere, remember not to discuss your load with anyone else. Always keep the truck and the trailer in sight if possible. Before leaving the area you stopped in, check the seal integrity to make certain that no one has tampered with your load. When visiting places like the railroad or a dropped container where you're picking it up loaded, anytime you find a seal broken on a load at the railroad or at that shipper receiver, you should contact management to help determine next steps. They will guide you on the other information they need. You don't want to simply take a load as is if the seal is broken. It is possible someone's tampered with it. A broken seal on a hazmat load should be treated differently in terms of next steps. Make sure to report it to the ramp security so they can investigate and help determine if there is a cause for concern. At no time should you discuss what is on a given load with someone who doesn't have a need to know. Another easy thing to do is lock the doors of the transport vehicle, including the rear doors. A simple padlock can help prevent people from getting inside. Drivers hauling hazardous materials should also always be aware of the vehicles around them. If you have suspicion someone is following you, do not engage them. Do not stop for them. Call the police and see if they can meet you somewhere. It is always better to err on the side of caution when there could be danger present. It's important to remember terrorists come in all shapes and sizes. They can be of any race or gender. They can be immigrants, or they can also be people born here in the United States. The threat of homegrown terrorism has been growing over the years. Remember, report any strange activity you see or hear. It is better to err on the side of reporting too much than missing a warning sign that something is very wrong.